I used to think the world was pretty simple. You work hard, you keep your head down, you do the right thing, and eventually people see you for who you really are. Turns out, that's a nice story adults tell kids so they can sleep at night. Real life doesn't work like that. Real life lets people judge you in 5 seconds and lock you into a box you didn't choose. And once you're in that box, climbing out feels almost impossible, until something snaps. The first time I realized how invisible I was, it happened in a grocery store. I remember it clearly. Cold, fluorescent lights, half-empty shelves, and me standing there with my sister holding a basket that probably didn't even hit the minimum purchase limit. We were wearing hand-me-down jackets, the kind that never quite fit right, and I could feel eyes on us. Not curiosity, not concern. That look people give when they've already decided who you are and don't care if they're wrong. You know what I mean? We weren't stealing. We weren't causing trouble. We were just poor. And somehow that was enough to make us suspicious, enough to make us small. At home, things weren't much better. Our mom worked herself to the bone, took whatever job she could find, and still it never felt like enough. Bills stacked up on the kitchen table like a quiet threat. The kind that doesn't yell, doesn't scream, just waits. We learned early how to stay quiet, how to read moods, how to pretend everything was fine when it clearly wasn't. Kids shouldn't have to learn that stuff, but we did. That's why we started going out on our own. Early mornings before anyone noticed. We told ourselves it was an adventure, a little mission. We'd walk to this old building at the edge of town, an abandoned place most people avoided. Rumors said it was dangerous, haunted, cursed. To us, it was just a place where the world had forgotten to lock the door. Sometimes there were things left behind. Food, water, stuff people didn't think twice about throwing away. One morning, everything changed. We heard a sound that didn't belong. Not the wind, not the building settling. A voice. Weak. Broken. We followed it, heart pounding, every instinct telling us to run, but something else pulling us forward. Down a narrow set of stairs into a dark, damp basement, we found a man tied up, bruised, barely conscious. I remember freezing. That moment where your brain is screaming danger but your feet won't move. He looked at us like he didn't believe we were real, like maybe he'd finally lost his mind. "Water," he whispered. "Please." We should have run. We should have called for help, but we didn't. We looked at each other and knew exactly what the other was thinking. This wasn't about rules. This was about right and wrong. And right then, leaving wasn't an option. We brought him water, food when we could, bandaged what we could see. We didn't ask who he was or how he got there. When you grow up with nothing, you don't waste energy asking questions that don't feed anyone. We came back every day. Quiet. Careful. He told us his name was Aaron. Just Aaron. No last name. No stories about his life before that basement. Over time, he got stronger. Strong enough to sit up. Strong enough to talk. And that's when we realized he wasn't just some random guy who got unlucky. He spoke differently. Thought differently. He asked about us, about our mom, about school. He listened in a way adults rarely do, like our words mattered. Like we mattered. Then one day he was gone. The ropes were cut clean. The place was empty. No note, no explanation. Just silence. I remember standing there holding a piece of bread we'd saved, feeling this weird mix of relief and loss. Like someone had pulled a chair out from under a story that wasn't finished yet. Life went on. It always does. But something inside me shifted. Helping him changed how I saw myself. For the first time, I wasn't just the kid people looked past. I was someone who mattered to someone else. And once you feel that even for a moment, you don't forget it. Years later, the snap happened. I was older, still underestimated, still overlooked. Working a job where people assumed I was lucky just to be there. My manager talked down to me. Coworkers took credit for my work. Clients ignored my input until someone else repeated it louder. I swallowed it all because that's what I was taught to do. Keep your head down. Don't make waves. Until one meeting. We were in this glass conference room, all clean lines and fake smiles. I'd spent weeks preparing a proposal, research numbers solutions, the kind of work no one sees unless they want to. When it was time to present, my manager cut me off halfway through. literally waved his hand like he was brushing crumbs off a table. "We'll circle back," he said. Then he turned to someone else and asked them to explain my idea, and they did. Poorly. But everyone nodded anyway. Something in me broke. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't storm out. I just spoke. Calm. Clear. Actually, that's not what I said I told him. The room went quiet. He laughed. A short, sharp laugh. "Relax," he said. "Don't be so sensitive." That word. Sensitive. It's amazing how people use it to shut you down without saying you're wrong. I looked around the table. Faces avoiding mine. People who knew exactly what was happening and didn't want to get involved. And in that moment I saw the basement again. The man tied up, powerless, waiting for someone to decide he was worth helping. I wasn't doing that again, not to myself, so I laid it all out. Every number, every risk, every reason my approach worked better than theirs. I didn't attack, I didn't beg, I just told the truth, and for the first time they listened. Not because they suddenly respected me as a person, but because they couldn't poke holes in what I was saying. The aftermath was messy. Tension, side comments, meetings without invites. But something else happened too. People started coming to me quietly, asking questions, wanting help. The same manager who brushed me off started copying me on emails, then asking for my opinion, then eventually offering me a promotion he pretended was his idea all along. I took it. Not because I needed his validation, but because I earned it. And then one afternoon I got a message that stopped me cold. It was from Aaron. Turns out he wasn't just anyone. He'd been kidnapped, held for leverage, left to rot when things went wrong. He was found days after he escaped barely alive. And he never forgot the kids who helped him when no one else even knew he was there. We met for coffee. He looked different, healthier, sharper. But when he smiled, I recognized him instantly. He told me how those days in the basement changed him, how being helped by two kids with nothing made him question everything he thought he knew about power, success, and worth. "I spent my life being feared," he said, "and the people who saved me had no power at all. Or at least that's what the world thought." He'd rebuilt his life, and he'd built something else too. Programs, jobs, opportunities, quiet help for people who never get noticed. He didn't make speeches about it. He just did it. That meeting stayed with me, because I realized something important. Winning doesn't always look like revenge. Sometimes it looks like refusing to become small just because someone else wants you to be. Today, I'm in a different place. Better job, more stability, more voice. But I still remember what it felt like to be judged at a glance, to be dismissed, to be told without words that I didn't belong. And I watch how people treat others now, closely. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The world runs on assumptions, and most people never question theirs. They decide who deserves respect, help compassion based on clothes, accents, job titles. And they're wrong. A lot. So here's my question to you. If you'd been in that basement, would you have helped? And if you'd been in that conference room, would you have spoken up? Or would you have stayed quiet because it was easier? Tell me in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated, judged, or ignored? And what did you do about it?